KSL News at 4 starts now.
Well, cleanup continues after an active weather day across our state. So could more storms be on the way?
Well, we'll see. We've got team coverage this afternoon. Devin Mishuli is tracking the current conditions, and Lindsay Aerts is keeping an eye on efforts to mop up after yesterday's storms.
Let's go ahead and get to Devin Mishuli. You are looking at what the conditions look like right now, and Devin seems pretty calm, at least here in the Salt Lake Valley.
Yeah, luckily the Wasatch Front right now has been pretty quiet, almost all to talk about in the full 7-day forecast, so we'll get there in just a bit.
All right, we'll check back in a minute. Yeah.
Thanks, Devin.
Thanks. Residents in Eagle Mountain are hoping it doesn't rain there today because they're still cleaning up from yesterday's massive storm.
News specialist Lindsay Aerts went into several damaged basements today, and Lindsay, it sounds like the storm really took a toll in that area.
It did. Ashley and Deanie again went into those several homes today. Mud in the basements. We saw several, the water line where the water had come up several inches. Just a lot of damage in several different homes. But luckily there was a bit of a silver lining where neighbors came out to help in this cleanup effort, which, as we know, can make all the difference.
And it's still flowing.
Several inches of water seen pouring into the Muller's basement. Over at the Earls, so much water it busted out their basement window, leaving behind a muddy mess.
It was chaos for about an hour.
The Brink family now left repairing baseboards and drywall. Each of these neighbors, hammered by yesterday's massive storm, now left cleaning up and assessing damage. Nathan Earl's backyard, he says, turned into a lake. He brought in equipment to dig a trench.
I just knew the water had to go somewhere, and that was where we dug.
But as messy as things got, a silver lining. Neighbors and friends, who each family says came to help.
Most of what we did was cut carpet into strips that were light enough to carry, throw them over your shoulder, and they drip horrible basement water all over you as you haul them out and try to, get them cleaned up so they don't get mold.
Charlie Carr and his 3 sons say they're happy to provide the service.
It was kind of fun because you didn't ring a doorbell. You just went straight down to someone's basement and said, hey, can I help you?
These Eagle Mountain neighbors now hoping today's storms don't bring more mess. Yeah, and now the sky's looking rather clear here in Eagle Mountain right now, but obviously, as we know in Utah, that could change at any moment. Now, some of these homeowners telling me that insurance doesn't cover rain and also say it might take weeks for them to clean up. Live in Eagle Mountain, Lindsay Aerts, back to you.
Hey, but glad that the neighbors are coming together to make sure that some of that load is not as heavy. All right, Lindsay, thanks.
New developments today on Now.
Coming up next on Live at 5.
Some homeowners here in Saratoga Springs are cleaning up today after massive storms yesterday, and there's more storms rolling in today.
As our kids are headed back to school, an urgent reminder to drivers about school bus safety. Coming up, I'll tell you how many violations regarding school buses we had this past year.
The Provo Library needs money. How much the city is considering raising taxes to cover a budget shortfall.
Collecting spiders to better understand what's going on inside the Great Salt Lake. I'll tell you about this study being done through Weber State University.
KSL Live at 5 starts now.
Cleanup continues today in Saratoga Springs after massive storms flooded some homes there.
News specialist Lindsay Aerts spoke with homeowners today. And Lindsay, we saw some of those videos. It sounds like a lot of the damage is actually in the basement area.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Ashley. And what's worrisome is that the weather here in Saratoga Springs starting to take a turn, and that is worrisome for these homeowners who are still cleaning up the mud, the debris, the water, everything that came flowing into their basements. Now, let me show you what it looked like here at the Muller's house. You can see just how much water flowed into those buckets where they were trying to collect it through their windows. Over at the Earl's basement, there was water flowing in there, too. It got so pressurized it actually broke their basement window. Now, Nathan Earl actually dug a trench to get the water to flow from his backyard. He described it as a lake at one point. Now, he's got a layer of mud sitting on his basement floor currently, and I asked him what cleanup looks like.
It's going to be interesting. It'll probably be a month or so. Yeah, just sweeping and digging and chucking old stuff that's no longer good.
Insurance doesn't cover rain, so
that kind of changes our plans, trying to figure out how to manage what we're going to do on our own and what we're going to hire out.
Now, the Brink family, they just moved here from South Carolina. They said they've never seen storms like this before. Again, guys, just lots of cleanup, digging out, replacing baseboards and drywall, carpets, all of the damage that water can do. Now, obviously, we know that water, it just causes an immense amount of damage, even with a little bit of water. So you can imagine several inches just going up there and what these homeowners are now dealing with. Live in Saratoga Springs for Live at 5, I'm Lindsay Aerts. Back to you.
Hey, glad to see, though, that neighbors are coming together to help them out. All right, Lindsay, thank you. Kevin joining us.